What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of the Make Cool Shit podcast. I'm sitting down today with Ryan Mack, the founder of Kill the Headlights. We work together a bit at Make Cool Shit, and Ryan also has his own agency with his own clients. So I was actually thinking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. How did we meet? How did we get connected? Because I have no idea.
Oh, shit. How did we meet? I have no idea.
Me neither. I even went back to our emails and I couldn't find it. But now we're here.
Oh my goodness.
It was bothering me all morning. I was truly trying to, on the ride over here, I was thinking about it.
Cool. Good.
Maybe you could have just found us on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was referral, but I can't remember.
It might have been.
Some local restaurant muppet just, trying to like, who made that sign? He's like, it's this guy.
Maybe. That's possible. But so we have Make Cool Shit here. You guys have Kill the Headlights.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Kill the Headlights. It's a great name, by the way. Tell me a bit about the name and what you guys do.
It's fairly new. It's kind of been operating in the background a little bit for a while. But the premise behind Kill the Headlights is that brand leaders, company founders, CMOs, they need more seasoned, sharper talent to work directly with them to shape their ideas and strategies. So it was kind of originally founded as an entity doing ghost work for people in high places. And then that has expanded to be a little bit less of a total shadow operation and more of a public facing thing.
So you're no longer a ghostwriter. You're out in the public.
There's still people that the ghost effect is in place.
It's actually funny. I was just telling Richie, our new designer here at Make Cool Shit, what that even is. Right? I think a lot of people don't realize in our world, in the agency world, studio world, whatever you want to call it, everybody says this line that makes you want to throw up. Oh, we're a full service disciplinary studio, blah, blah, blah. No one's doing everything unless you're one of the 4 major, agencies out there. Yeah. So like here at Make Cool Shit, we get white labeled all the time. Yeah. Every single person on our subscription is white labeled, right? And we're cool with that because that's what pays the bills. But people don't realize how many times that you white label people in order to get other work done.
Yeah, it's like construction. You got the GC and then the sub and the sub to the sub and then the subs. And then that's the full pyramid of contributors, right? But I think one thing with just to put a bow on the Kill the Headlights bit is people are wildly disenchanted at work today, and so when you are a important decision maker, especially on the marketing and brand building side, who are you trusting with your most critical foundational work? And I think it's right now, it's in a moment where the space, the creative services space is being exposed because there's so much disengagement, so much disenchantment. I mean, I think the number is something like 4 out of 5 people don't like their work.
Don't like their work, don't like their job,
broadly,
don't like,
it's the
period.
It's like the Gallup disengagement metric or something. There was a study from earlier in the year, and I think it's at like a 10 or 15 year high. And so if you are on the hook to pull triggers on big ideas and big approaches and new things, who's helping you develop that? And there was a profound white space in the market where the decision makers felt underserved.
Why do you think that is? The 4 out of 5 people don't like their job. It's actually funny. I was talking to Richie on the ride here about almost like 90% of America hates their jobs. Right. Yeah. Specifically in the creative space, why do you think that is?
So just to clarify, anybody can go look this up.
Fact check.
It's fact check. I believe it was a Gallup, initially a Gallup research or a Gallup poll that was then followed up with other entities. But there's a variety of factors. There's and trying to hone in on the creative services space. The onslaught of AI, the proliferation of AI, that is obvious in there. I think the consolidation of the entire industry, Margins, therefore, are squeezed. And so you get people putting pressure on the layers inside of their service orgs to do more. The business that these agencies take on can often be just not terribly inspiring.
Yep.
And then you have like the cultural undercurrents. If you're 30 and you're mid-level, how the hell are you going to buy a home? You know,
You're not.
what are you doing? Like, what's the future of work look like? Like, how do I find financial stability? And I think all of that kind of, compounds and makes people be like, yo, fuck this shit.
Yeah. I think
Why do I care?
I think you hit the nail on the head, specifically on the AI point, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and I were talking about it. Richie now is a new member of the team, but I just put up a junior graphic designer post a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And over 1,000 applications, 100,000 analytics on the social media posts that I put up, like crazy amount of interest, right? And Richie, who's a talented designer, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Richie, after, great portfolio, great work, great kid. Yeah. And I asked him, like, hey man, how's your like interviewing process going? Like, he was the cream of the crop of the people that applied.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't get a call back.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not that he's not doing good. It's that now the agencies are not hiring as many people on the junior level or even the mid-level, right? So that 30-year-old mid-level creative employee that hasn't moved up in his career or her career is fine, but they're not getting hired because companies think, and wrongly so, that AI can do everything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just really interesting to see the creative market. Every time you go on LinkedIn, you're like, oh, Amazon fired 3,000 people. This company fired 3,000 people. Shopify came out and said that they're not hiring a single employee until they could prove that AI can't do their job, right? So the AI space is only going to get faster, bigger, stronger, better, right? So how, as a creative employee, whether you're an actual designer, whether you're a business owner, how do you navigate that whether it's now and moving forward?
So I think right now we're still in this phase of AI as an augmenter of our work and maybe an enhancer of our work.
It's not original.
Or I should say that was probably up till now, but now the sharpest minds, the best people that were always the best designers or the best strategists or the best creatives, I think that they now have become significantly more prolific, and therefore you don't need the others. And so those that are the top dogs have really elevated their position as top dog, and they're more available. And so I think now you're starting to see the replacement effect. Probably over the next, definitely over the next coming months and maybe years, but like you'll see that teams don't necessarily need to be as big, and the best people in their respective fields are just gonna just elevate.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I'd rather have a couple savages.
Yeah.
I'd rather have 3 savages working on a project than 10 people who are just okay.
Yeah. And I think that, you hear all these big ass employers saying, no, it's not about replacement. And you even hear the technology, the tech companies. And sure, maybe that's not the intention, but it's the inevitable bit. And I don't think it's necessarily just contraction all the time, a big ass company shrinking. I think it's actually new companies that get founded that simply don't need to expand. So I don't think this is just about job loss. I actually think this is also about a slower rate of job creation inside of new entities. I think that's a big part that people don't necessarily talk about. They all talk about like, oh, they're going to slice. They employ 2,000 people. They only need 500. Sure. But the shops that we have, in theory, I might have needed 50 people to do the work that we've done thus far this year with, 5 to 10.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's the same way. I mean,
and
it's a tool, right?
Yeah. And I'm not contracting. I just don't need to expand as viciously and violently as I would have needed to maybe in prior years, decades, whatever.
That's an important piece because we were talking earlier with the, junior designers over here where creatives are horrible at business.
Yeah.
Right. So I was horrible at business and I'm still learning to be a better business person, right? Starting as a designer.
Richie, you good at business?
No. Well, he got a crash course before the episode.
Yeah.
But you have a creative background. You might not be a designer by trade.
Sure.
Right? But how do you marry your creativity with the context of your business acumen, right? Because most creative people can't, the left side of the brain can't use the right side of the brain and vice versa, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of creatives quote projects wrong or go about selling the process wrong, right? Because you could be the most talented agency, designer, creative, videographer, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you can't sell yourself, if you can't work on the business, then you're just working in your mom's basement. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a good question. It's just to restate it about how do you marry the
both sides of your world,
the creative ambition with the business acumen. So I think a really simple starting point, and this isn't it, this isn't the whole thing, is for myself coming from full-time employment, coming from running other agencies, running other shops, spending time inside of media companies. I built a lifestyle and I have a family and I know what I need to earn, right? And so if I know what I need to earn, then I have a value that I need to generate.
You have a floor that you need to hit.
I have a floor. And that floor gets basically translated into baseline fees. What I need to be compensated to engage on a project. And those projects range in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. So like this is just general. But like if you just do the math, it's like cool, this is what my personal earnings need to be. So therefore, this is what the target revenue for this entity needs to be. And then that translates to a small number of contained projects at a certain cost to the client. And then you start to figure out the shape of the organization in a baseline scenario that supports the lifestyle and the life you're leading. And this is just speaking from my perspective.
But that's the break even. I want to be clear to all the younger.
That's to continue to live the life you want to live, your setup. And then it's like, how much bigger and grander do I want to go? Do I want to go take over the world? Do I want to fall somewhere in the middle? Do I just want to be super boutique and high touch forever and do this because the projects are dope and the clients are good people and I only work with people that are referred to me with no outbound ambition? Maybe that's a scenario too. And then you start playing with those levers because then that dictates your time, that dictates how much more investment you might need to put into the business. It dictates your positioning, right? Like with Kill the Headlights right now, like there's like a fun energy right now to it. When people come into the world, like, my world, and want to work together, it's usually because it's through a referral. They take a look at the projects that we're on that we don't publicly talk about. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of this, it's like this insider kind of energy. And that's cool, but then that arrangement, that position, like, dictates how I can support the life I want to live.
Exactly. You're almost like now, currently, Kill the Headlights, you're almost like, if you know type of vibe.
That's right.
Because you don't, as you could correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't do outbound.
No,
right?
There's no outbound.
It's pretty much all inbound, which means all word of mouth, all projects that, they've worked on, just referrals, right? Yeah. Ryan and Kill the Headlights are an exception, but I say this all the time to younger designers, other company owners. You can't live on referrals forever.
That's right.
Right? And why do I know that? Is because I found out that the hard way around 2022.
Yep.
I went on vacation with my wife, came back, and I realized, okay, no brand new clients. I was gone for like a month. I was gone for like the whole month of May, right? Between my honeymoon and going out in other vacations. And I realized I was like, okay, wow, my business can't sustain without me.
Yeah.
Which is a huge problem. Right. So I found out the hard way. Now, that doesn't mean the company closed, but I realized, okay, I don't have this continuous funnel. Yeah. I can't just live on people talking great about me, no matter how great we do. Yeah. Right. So that's something that I always like to harp on with really any business. At the end of the day, if you own a sandwich shop, you can't do any outbound, you can't do no outbound work and just hope that your sandwiches are so good. You have to have the best fucking sandwiches, this side of the Mississippi.
Yeah. And there's also different ways, to deliver and keep your tone and your vibe. And maybe this is a segue into this brand specific stuff, but it's like you kind of like watching you put this thing together, get started on this, I'm probably going to start something similar where it's a bit of a talk show, just because inside of these environments, you can deliver tone, you can add value, you can topically, help somebody out there on the internet explore something they haven't thought about yet. In your episode with Jamie, maybe you're like going to blow somebody's mind about like what it takes to build a restaurant brand and like, oh shit. And so there's ways to like not just go out there and try to, whore yourself to fucking new clients. There's a way to like, maybe there's some value creation. You have a little bit of a different publishing approach. Maybe it's some like really subtle assets that are published and you put some paid behind, but it's like, there's some sort of intrigue. There's some sort of simple yet intriguing hook, but it's not overtly, a fucking pitch deck.
You're reading my mind, FYI, but yes.
It's all that stuff. One last bit, it's like on the I guess this is also maybe on the new, how you generate new biz and then how you build your own like agency brand or company brand. But, in the marketplace, going back to my first couple points, I think there are more marketers, decision makers, business leaders that are understanding they need to make a decision on whether they want cognitive firepower or they want service labor.
Okay. Explain that a bit more, because I think the general public or even people, experts in our space, might not even know what that means.
So there are plenty of companies that need labor. They need to fill holes inside of their organizations to do more marketing, more communications, more audience development,
production,
more sales, more production, whatever it is, right? Just labor. They have things that need to get done. They have work that needs to get trafficked, and they conflate, the creative services with like operational support. And then, so you have, I need labor. I have holes that need to be filled inside of my marketing organization. Or do I need real fucking cognitive firepower, real creative strategy that is defining the things I need to do? Because right now, point about AI, point about everything, AI is basically allowing everybody to do everything. So if everybody can do everything,
the playing field has been leveled.
Isn't the only thing of value to add is to help them decide what to do in the first place. And that conversation is so far upstream, but you got to get there. Like if I want to shape that work, you got to get upstream. And so again, if everybody can increasingly do everything, isn't the most important piece of that is deciding what to do in the first place.
It's the high level decision making. It's the high level creativity. Yeah. It's separating yourself from someone who could put a prompt into ChatGPT versus somebody who's curating an entire campaign.
That's right. And the tool set, the new tool set, the emerging tool set of AI is not part of the big strategic and creative thinking. It's certainly present. But whether you're developing a new positioning for your company and brand, or you want to roll out a sweeping new content platform, or you want to open up new lines of commerce, whatever they might be, solicit the interest of new audiences, those are heady, fundamental, dangerous fucking topics, and those are not meant to be shaped by disengaged, disenchanted service layers. It's just not.
Yeah. Maybe in the simplest form, right? I think I spoke on it earlier, but specifically in AI, it's the tool, right? So if you're a high level thinker and you're putting in a prompt into whatever AI platform you're using, you're going to get better results if you are a high level thinker and you're thinking on a different plane than everyone else is.
Totally.
If you're a disenchanted employee,
you just, hey, what are the 5 things you put in the fucking prompt? It's a shitty prompt. It's a hollow prompt. It's not a riffing partner at that point. You're looking to cut corners, you know, format the doc. And
at the end of the day, it's you get out what you put in.
That's it.
Right? So, all right, I own brands, you own brands. We both work with brands within our companies. When you hear the word brand, what does that mean to you? Because it means a lot of different things to a lot of other people. The word brand itself, I get all the time at Make Cool Shit, oh, it's your logos.
Yeah,
it's the visual aspect of what you do, which is a massive part of it. But what does the word brand mean to you?
I think the common way to frame it up to be as expansive as possible is it's the totality of your expressions, right? It's the totality of your expressions, and every single expression is a demonstration or a component of the brand, right? If I were to say it to fucking high school kids, I'm like, yo, who are you? What do you say? And how do you look? Richie, who are you? What do you say? What do you say? What do you talk about? How do you talk about it? Loud ass creative Richie. And then how do you look?
He's about 8 feet tall.
But like those essential, like, you know, I'm just playing around with Richie, but like those essential questions are just how I think would be like, you know, like, who are you? It's like, okay, cool. I'm this. And then what's your immediate descriptor? Cool. Got it. And then it's like, what do I say? And in that instance, what do I mean? I'm like, yo, you're a brand. You're like, you and I could go make belt buckles. Right? It's like, what are you? Okay, we're a belt buckle company that, you know, this, that, otherwise, whatever we frame it up. And it's like, cool. How do we talk? What do we say? Not even how, what? Like, you got, like, for years, it was always about, like, you know, social media. It's like, how do we sound? And it's the tone. Sure, that's part of it. But, like, what do you say? What are you talking about? What are the topics that are, like, so close to you that you can't help have a point of view on? Right? And then how do you look? What's your sigil? What's your symbol? What's your vibe? What's your color palette? What are your textures? You know? Like Richie, I don't know. He looks like he might go, you know, play some hoops. I mean, like right now. So, you know, I think it's like, just who are you? What do you say? And then, like, those are my questions. Like, those are the fundamental questions. You sit down with somebody, you're launching a new restaurant. Yeah, what is this place? Oh, okay, cool. What do you say? What do you talk about? Oh, we actually talk about the fusion of this cuisine and that cuisine, or we actually talk about the future of seafood, or we actually talk about like sustainable farming and the rise of solar farms as a way to offset electricity contributions to the grid and simultaneously, you know, a regenerative approach to fucking farming. Oh, that's what you talk about. That sounds cool. That sounds like the building blocks of a brand, you know? And then it's like, how do you look? Oh, well, we're like 19, we have we're kind of horny for like 1920s America. You know, I like the Great Gatsby vibe, or it's like, you know, I'm a futurist, or I'm a whatever the hell it is. It's like, all right, cool. Then you're like, oh shit, I'm starting to get a vibe for this dude.
I think you hit on something important. I'm reading through the tea leaves. It's not an exact 1-for-1 comp, but I tell our clients all the time, the owner of the company needs to have a little bit of their sauce, their flavor into the branding. It doesn't have to be 100% them, but if you can't build the brand based on the sous chef that doesn't speak to anybody for this fake seafood restaurant that we're creating. It needs to be guided by the CEO, the owner, the founder, whatever you want to say. It doesn't mean that their branding or their logo is a picture of their face or whatever it is. But if you and I, in our respective companies, if we walked, talked, acted a certain way, and then our brand was the exact opposite, then the audio wouldn't match the visual.
Yeah.
And everyone knows my story in the past on how our company was called the Design Company, and I would wear blazers and I would gel my hair and I would talk how I thought the clients wanted me to talk. And then I woke up one day, I'm like, yo, I'm a fucking fraud. Like, I'm telling my clients to be authentic. I'm telling them to be real. I'm telling them to put their heart into it. But then I'm not talking about the work we did. I'm talking about our internal brand. Yeah. And then I realized, like, okay, that's not working for me. So I need to rebrand my own company. Now, I say all that to say is now for other brands, why do you think that when you see a rebrand that fails epically, or when you see a company out there and you're an expert, so you could tell, just like me, where I'm like, yeah, that doesn't match up. Where do you think brands fail in building their own internal brand within their company?
Oh, man. So I think there's context is everything. I think you see a lot of failures on the rebrand front when they actually entirely eliminate a signature attribute instead of
like Jaguar, for example,
instead of building on it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you need to stick to, and then there are the decisions where you want to abandon everything and you want to start from scratch. But most of the stuff that I've seen, over recent years is where there's some sort of signature defining attribute that isn't necessarily the whole thing, but it's the core piece of it that they abandon too abruptly. That usually creates revolt, and
that's usually the thing that built their business to get to where they're at now.
First place. Yeah. And I think it also goes to this philosophical thing where people often go into rebrand to try to make it more expansive and cater to more audiences. But there is a contrarian point of view to that where the more niche you go, the more expansive your brand gets. The more you can go own a singular window into attention, then their engagement with you expands the presence of your company and brand. So I don't know. I'm definitely there's a distaste for the blatant attempt to become generic to attract more people, because it's very AI.
Yeah, and it's and they've since changed it. But a good example is Burberry had this beautiful royal logo, and then they turn it into something that looks similar to Helvetica. Right, because then now, and by the way, it's not just Burberry; it's all the fashion houses. That's a good example. Yeah. You just saw a Cracker Barrel go through the rebrand. You saw Jaguar completely, disengage from anything that they've ever done in the past.
Lost a signature, and even in the Jaguar example, you get what they're doing. They're trying to push it forward, push the boundaries, whatever. And it's got that kind of futurist take. And you could do that. That's not in a territory unworthy of exploration. That it's just how do you take some of those signature components or features with you so it doesn't feel so disassociated from what your core fans like. There was recently a comedian, I forget his name. You guys can go look it up. It's a comedian, and roughly what the quote was like this: he refound his groove when he started writing material for his first 100 fans. And then that recalibration that he went through unlocked growth. So by just explicitly trying to yo, let's return to the shit that got me my first 100 people to follow, to not even to follow, just to be engaged with me. What was I doing then? And then that unlocked incremental growth. Fast forward however long he was doing comedy. But I thought that was a pretty potent thing, especially now.
Speaking of brands, we get this question a lot at Man Cool Shit is, I'm making it up. Let's just say we're charging a client 50 to 100 grand for a rebrand. So it's an existing company
Sure.
that's doing well, has the budget to work with us. And then sometimes a client will say, okay, how can you explain my return on investment on this project? Right? Because creativity is not like a vending machine. I think it was Jeff Staple, I think his name is, who owns the Staple clothing brand. I saw this Instagram reel one day and I saved it. He's like, he broke it all down. He's like, in a vending machine, you put in $1, you get a candy bar. Creativity and rebranding and creative in general, it's a spectrum, right? It's a longer play. It's years of consistency and building the brand. So when someone says, whether it's us here at Make Shit or Kill Health, it's like, hey, how do you provide ROI on creativity?
Yeah. If you're launching a new company,
that's even harder because there's nothing to compare it to.
That's right. So if you're injecting your operations with like a new wave of creativity to combat stagnation or just underperformance, I think it's pretty straightforward to say, hey, when this rolled out, we saw the increase in the standard stuff. We saw more demonstrated interest from fans. We saw more time spent with our audience. We saw a higher click-through rate on assets now created inside of this new brand world.
Which is important because these metrics weren't a thing 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Per se.
If they were, they were much more rudimentary. When you start to go back to like, what are you talking about? Like what do you say? What is your point of view? What are you talking about? And then the aesthetic, I would make the argument that inside of branding, that there's a case to be made that whoever's leading that charge should be leading the ideation on content and publishing itself as well, because there's one metric right now I know that like that I've used inside of my world. I know creators are using to optimize their own channels that are doing hundreds of millions of views a month is just watch time, which essentially is time spent with an audience. Just time spent with an audience. Like, does this new creative approach help us spend more time? Is it making a target human spend more time with us? Because think about it. The more somebody spends time with you, logically, the more likely they are to buy something. And if you keep spending time with them, they're more likely to buy again. So does this creative expression of us help us spend more time with our target audience? Do we believe it'll more effectively spend time? There's still a belief. It's still a fucking bet. We're still gambling here. It's creativity.
Correct.
And so, but you can start quantifying, like, damn, like now when we make stuff inside of this new world, people are sticking around a lot longer, and the stuff is more engaging, and like they're coming back more frequently, and those types of metrics.
You made a good point. It is a gamble, right? I know we were talking earlier about the Jaguar, and its rebrand has got a lot of backlash towards it, right? Which I don't love all the time because there's like so many people that worked on that were like, now they just get shit on online or by me on this podcast. But the point is, that was a gamble, right? Whether starting from scratch, hell, a business starting from scratch in itself, forget the brand, that's a gamble in itself, right? So I think a lot of people misinterpret how much of a gamble it is, right? But you really just need to align with your authenticity of like what you believe in.
Yeah.
And then if you are lock in step in whether you're building the brand yourself or working with another company, if everybody's lock in step and walking towards the same direction and everyone is ready to run through a brick wall for this, then it makes it, in my opinion, significantly less of a gamble. But I want to be very clear. It is still a gamble anytime you start something from scratch or you start something or you rebrand a company, because you can't get 100% of the audience liking what you're doing, right? But you hit the nail on the head earlier where it's like, I'd rather have 100% of the 1% than have 1% of the 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. You mean in regards to like getting talent on my projects?
Yes, as well as niching down, right?
Oh,
Like,
yes, yes,
like,
yes, yes,
do
yes,
do
yes.
you want to be?
Yeah,
Do you want to be what's the term? Big fish in a small pond, or a fish in the vast ocean?
yeah. Yeah, and the
I want
thing
to be clear. That was not the correct metaphor to be
I'm
using there.
tracking. I'm tracking. But like the niche thing I think is you go into a specific space and you pick performance as your hook, and you're an apparel company. Cool. You go into this space and you might be super niche, catering to a very specific audience as a performance oriented product. But then once you build that, then there's these adjacent expansions. And that's where I think we get twisted up. Is like we think it's like we just got to cater to more people in tone and message, where it's like nah. Like your arrow is sharp. You got in there, and then how do you stay?
How do you penetrate within there? Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. And it's going in, and then it's like on the other side of the prism, like right, you're coming in with like a super tight, point of view, and then it's like, oh shit, you get on the other side of it, and it becomes expansive. It becomes very expansive. I've worked in a lot of food programming, a lot of culinary programming. And you're like, damn, food is pretty niche. Sure, new food is niche, but then when you say, hey, we're fucking killers in making food content. It's like, great. You go in food. Okay, cool. You build an audience of tens of millions of foodies. Great. But inside, once you're in, then you start putting food in the backdrop. And then you're like, yo, we're going to make a travel show and food is going to be in the backdrop. And then you're like, oh, and then we're going to make an interview show and food is in the backdrop. And then, oh, we're going to make a home design show, but food is in the backdrop because we're focusing on kitchens. And then all of a sudden you're dabbling in interior design, you're dabbling in travel.
It's lifestyle at that point.
It's lifestyle at that point, but food is still the fucking thing. I'm not saying it's like that's the hook, and then it just becomes more expansive because you're starting to play in like adjacent spaces.
Do you think the way you look at things, like that strategic way you just broke down the prism example, is your creative superpower? And if not, what is your creative superpower?
Oh my God.
Also,
objectivity.
What is your flaw as well?
Yeah.
What's your biggest flaw?
So I think often in creative development and strategic development exercises, objectivity and creative conviction are seen as opposites. I think that right now, having a clean, totally pure, blank slate approach to problem solving for clients is where you need to start.
So you're not coming in with baggage. You're walking in there with a blank canvas.
And speaking very, very, very specifically about a problem inside of our industry, is that you have a shitload of creative directors and strategists that have a certain thing that they want to do. It's a passion project. It's a certain type of output.
They have an agenda.
Yes. And they're just looking for places to park it. So when they go get a brief from a client, they're like, ooh, yeah, fuck yeah. Like I can go take this stupid fucking idea and put it on this dude's or this woman's business and watch it tank. But I'll get it in market and it's going to look really pretty. And then
it's ego based too.
Exactly. And so you have this poor behavior of answering or trying to fill the needs of people that need creativity with their own personal preferences rather than objectively developing something that helps them stand out in a compelling, profound, on business manner. And I think that's a big problem. So I think objectivity and not being bound to any specific type of output or entity is an asset that I definitely dial up in the market.
Yeah, and what I'm also hearing is one of my biggest flaws I talked about in the episode with Jamie is I used to have a huge ego as a designer, right? So when you're going into a meeting and you have a blank canvas, what that really means is that Ryan, Kill the Headlights, et cetera, you guys don't have an ego. You're looking at it like, okay, let's actually collaborate rather than because that's what everyone wants to say, right? People hit me up on Instagram all the time. Oh, let's collab. Do you want to collaborate to use our following, or do you want to collaborate to actually collaborate?
Yeah.
Right. And even when you say, okay, I want to collaborate just to collaborate, are you coming in with your own agenda to collaborate? Or are you really just looking at this as, hey, let's have some fun and let's build something cool?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. You gotta be agendaless. Your agenda has to be like, yo, I wanna create some fucking awesome
The best shit possible.
that gets them excited and full buy-in. So going full circle back to the opening point about CMOs and leaders, there's a trade-off too here. Is it more beneficial to have a pretty good idea being put, full throttle by executive leadership, right? Evangelizing it, fully behind it, executing it, and maximizing it to its greatest capacity? Or is it to have like some crazy, very high quality idea that they're like, okay, cool, let's roll with it. And it's a byproduct of some process that they did not feel like they were leading. So the idea might be a bit better, a bit stronger, but is not being driven home with the same conviction by the internal stakeholders. I think that is equally a kiss of death, if not more, for great ideas. So my premise is like, get them, extract their ambitions, extract their preliminary thinking, extract the strategies and ideas that they've thought about and might want to pursue, and help them package them and make them rad, and help them bring them to life, make them better. Because buy-in and drive on the client side can make a campaign into it.
Yeah, and especially depending on whether either of our companies are working with the client, sometimes we set them up and then they're on their own.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes we also work with them throughout the year or what have you. But you hit the nail on the head where, like, if you don't make them want to run through a brick wall of this collective idea that we all made, once Kill the Headlights leaves and the full scope of work is done, if they are not all invested and all on board, then you see the idea just slowly crash and burn, because not everybody is fully vested in the process of where it can go and where it could take you.
But they also they don't even have the words in their mouth to explain the shit themselves. So when you are intimately engaged with those drivers, like almost as a tight riffing team rather than layers of labor, right? And this is like, sometimes you need talent, you don't need teams. Oftentimes you need that, increasingly more today than ever. You need individuals that are gonna just help catalyze your initial instincts and ideas. You do not need layers and layers of operations to think through that shit with you. I think big shops are always gonna have a place. The alignment machines, it's like, cool, now we got on our tracks and we need labor. Totally.
Which is okay.
Totally. But you have the mega shops pitching, that their excellence and creativity, and like, in these award shows, which were exposed numerous times over the past couple years. And
they bought that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the effectiveness of the actual stuff that's winning awards is just not there.
It just looks pretty.
It's just not there. It looks pretty, and sometimes it doesn't even look fucking pretty.
Yeah.
It's been politicked its way to fucking a gold or a bronze or whatever the hell it is. Nothing against awards. Like, it's good industry stuff, but like, it's just not. It's just like, that's the alternative motive. Like when I talk to other shops and like their agenda is to win awards, I'm like, yo, no, nah, sorry, I don't trust you.
Yeah, I mean, because once again, that is the definition of ego.
I just don't trust you. Don't trust you. And like, I think maybe I've said this too, but one of the filters that I put on people that I work with is like, of course you gotta be talented. Of course you gotta have some ambition and integrity. But would I trust you with my children for a weekend? If I had to. And if I wouldn't trust you with my kids for a weekend, I typically don't. I won't work with you.
See, that is interesting, because that goes back to the business aspect that we talked about earlier, right? In the past, I've said yes to clients that were willing to pay me X amount of money because at that time I valued money. I still very much value money, but I didn't value values.
Yeah.
Right. So
And to be fair, let me caveat that. I'm not even saying you need to be some virtuous or righteous person, but if I can trust you to take care of my children for a weekend, then I can do business with you.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, I would like to think you're a good person, all that, but it's like, are you talented? Are you ambitious? Are you a person of integrity as it pertains to your work? And if you took my 2 girls for a weekend, are they going to come back feeling great?
I mean, I think that's a metric that everybody, assuming that you have a family or children, that
Because there are so many fucking cunts in this business right now, and there are so many people peddling shit, and there are so many people that just don't even that don't have empathy or just don't see big picture, don't understand life for what it is, and yeah, I just don't like. I don't want to work with them.
I think that's very important, and they don't teach you that in school.
No.
They don't teach you that in business school. They don't teach you that anywhere other than real world experience. On that note, talking about going into something with like a blank slate, right?
Yeah.
Something that all creative people, regardless of your title, I think we all deal with is imposter syndrome. How do you deal with imposter syndrome?
By acknowledging it as not a syndrome, as like an inherent truth across humanity. Everybody. How is it a syndrome if it's ingrained in everybody? I don't want to, like, it's just there. It's a trait, right? Am I for real? Am I for real? Am I for real? Should I be doing, like, you know, it's like everybody, it's natural. So I'm just like, yeah, just a moment, just like everybody else, you know, sitting there, big conversations with a CMO of whatever company. It's like, this motherfucker, yeah, he's doubting himself.
Yeah.
Look at him.
Every single one at that table that you're at is.
Look at her. She don't know what the fuck. She doesn't think she knows what the fuck she's doing.
But she's saying it confidently though.
She's up there and she's preaching the preach. But then, yeah, I don't think she does. And then you see moments, and it's like everybody has it. Everybody has it. It's like, you know, the entire idea of progression. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this for the first time. So if you have a job that is bigger, grander, better in whatever capacity, because you're on your own or because you're now running Unilever, right? Like, you didn't do it before.
Yeah.
Imposter. Faker.
Yeah.
Of course.
I said every single person has it, whether you're in the creative business or not, right? It doesn't matter what you do.
And then you get the, you know, the lifers in a role. I don't mean at a company where, like, you know, they're like, yeah, they're doing the job in numerous different places. And sure, like they wouldn't fall into the category of the people that I'm talking about that are like, you know, hey, I want to do something new. I want to move up, or I want to try it over here. I want to splinter cell and go over here, or whatever. Like, in all those scenarios, excluding the people that are just like, you know, staying in their lane. Like, those are all everybody's. They're all imposters.
I think the people that are staying in their lane might have it even more so. Because they're too scared to take
the jump or whatever. I'm sitting here on a podcast talking about, like, you know, owning my own shop, and like yeah, it's kind of new.
So even deep down inside, you're like, oh shit,
I'm a fake.
Yeah, but I think it's healthy for you to say that. I think everybody is healthy to acknowledge it, right? Because it doesn't matter whether you're a 22-year-old Nigel video editor, right? Or someone who's our age who's running a shop for X amount of years. It's like, yeah, like, own it, accept it. Yeah. Everybody has their own ways of maybe getting out of it. Yeah. Right? We all have, you know.
Like Richie, those videos that you're helping with that are published to a really important channel.
Which I didn't even explain to you.
That get watched by really important people. Are you equipped to do those? Okay, cool.
Super confident. Okay. to be fair, he's only worked here for a couple of weeks. The last question I like to ask everybody is, what's been your biggest fuck it, let's do it moment? You know, a moment in your career that maybe changed the trajectory, or positive, negative, whatever that is. What's been the one almost defining moment? Just a lighthearted question to end it.
Probably. I mean, maybe not professionally, but
It could be
was,
personally too.
yeah, it was probably, my wife and I, we lived in the city for a while. We're in New York City, and then we hit a point in time because of the COVID dynamics and having kids, where it just became time to pull the trigger and leave. And like, in just you know, we spent time in the West Village and Brooklyn, the Upper West Side, like all over the city.
And I'm sure at the time you loved it, right?
Oh, we still did. Yeah, up until the day where like we broke the lease. But I think that like that was probably like, just fuck it, it's time. That was such a material rearrangement of life, or not even rearrangement, just a shift in trajectory, and
it's monumental.
And so like that premise, after living in the city for whatever it ended up being, 12 years or more or whatever, it just was like, it was like a big moment.
Especially because there's that cliche where I did something similar. I lived in Hoboken, then I moved to Montclair. You lived in New York City, you happened to move to Montclair, right? We just happened to pick the same town, but everyone was like, oh, you're moving in the burbs?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? There's that negative.
To be fair, I was like kind of eyeing them up. I was flirting. I was burb curious for like for a few.
I want to be clear. I was never burb curious.
I was burb curious. But then like professionally, like a big thing that I definitely like took a while to think about was, back in 2019, leaving Vice Media, just because
cushy job.
I had spent numerous years there, and like, putting a lot of effort into like building new lines of business and all that kind of stuff. But then that was like a big one. And then right now, just identifying this space, identifying this need in the market, and just like trying to lean into it, and so far so good. You get the handful of people that you're working with, big ass publicly traded companies, all the way to like startup coffee companies. And so the range is there, and like, I think, fuck it, let's just do it, because it's gonna be super stimulating. It'll be engaging. We can make the numbers that we need to make, and yeah, and it's kind of like the maybe the ultimate fuck it all. But as I think, somebody had to have said this, that in every disaster there's a tutorial. So
that's a bar right there.
And so if it all fucking falls apart, I'll have at least I'll draft a tutorial on what next to do, not next to do next time.
Yeah, and you'll sell a class.
And I'll sell a class. Yeah. In every disaster, there's a tutorial.
So for anybody out there who maybe wants to find you, where can they go? Instagram, email?
Yeah.
How would people reach out to you?
You can email me at Mack, M-A-C-K, my last name, killtheheadlights.co, and tell me what's up.
All right, that's a wrap. Episode 2, Ryan Mack. This is the Make Cool Shit podcast. If you guys got anything powerful out of this episode, like it, share it, post it. You could find us on IG, website, and OnlyFans. Talk to you guys next week.